Recording. I think we started the recording now and begin with the Composer presentation. Agenda. Well, you may have noticed the agenda already, but I will guide you briefly through what we have planned for today. As promised, we will detail the challenges of integration and elaborate how Composer can help. You will also see 2 or 3 use cases, and we will also demonstrate how to build these integration flows. This is then the practical part of the meetup. In the last chapter, we come to Q&A, and we will ask you for feedback. And not too much words, let's start. Here you find a short bio of the speakers today. As I said, my name is Marcus. I'm working as an architect in my company. I'm involved in Mulesoft projects now for more than 6 years. Vinit and Sudhir will take care of the demo parts today, and they will introduce themselves in a minute. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, we believe that a good integration strategy is key factor for modern software landscapes. This sounds easy, so what is the challenge here? Business teams are, and if you're working in the integration area, you know that, are always asking for integration between their core systems, get the best view on their customers. IT has to follow and is going to implement these interfaces based on the business demands. On this slide, you can see who's asking IT for integration support. Basically, this spans across the whole organization, typically of an enterprise. This process is increasing and produces the so-called IT gap. And this is illustrated now in the next 2 slides. I will briefly cover it. IT tries to deliver, but the demand is increasing across many areas. So the main question is now how to enable IT and how can we shrink this delivery gap? What we expect is that the capacity will not increase the same way. So some of you are already part of the Mulesoft community for a while, and you certainly heard of the IT gap. Now, why is Composer, specifically the Composer, an option to improve the situation and to help IT to deliver? This is the answer we would like to give today. Business expects app to connect. There's always one application send information, another one expects the data for their processes. And actually, you may have heard of Mulesoft Anypoint and the 3-layer architecture and the API first approach. When we come to Composer and we talk about Composer, this is not the first goal when we think about the solution pattern. Here we have always a flow between 2 or more applications. It can be an end-to-end process, like you have a new custom in Salesforce and you need to forward it to SAP, send an email to a process owner, create a Jira ticket afterwards, and which is required for back office. Just one example of it. And this is what basically where Composer comes into the game. Mulesoft claims that this is the fastest and easiest way to connect apps and data. Quite a superlative, I think. What it is indeed for sure that Mulesoft took any effort to simplify the integration process, make it as easy as possible, and on the other hand, provide a scalable integration platform that comes also with some monitoring capabilities. So in the end, with Mulesoft, you can work with business teams and IT together and collaborate on the integration challenges. And we will learn in a second how to do this. The huge benefit of Composer, that was too fast, sorry for that. So huge benefit of Composer is a number of predefined connectors. All of these are out of the box and easy to use. Well, basically, I'm sure that you know already most of the logos here. So I will just highlight some of it. Obviously, we will have Salesforce, Marketing Cloud here, a connector to Mulesoft RPA as well. Some of our customers are using Snowflake, they're using Stripe, they're using Microsoft Business Central as ERP. Marketo, ServiceNow is coming up more and more. So this is a great benefit of the solution. So one of the two latest connectors are Google BigQuery and SAP. So SAP is a big player in the market, obviously. Please make sure that that you take into notice that it's only the cloud version of currently from SAP S/4HANA. It's also not the private cloud version which is supported. It's just the pure cloud version. And just to make it a bit more concrete, because we had already a situation where we tested that connector and we've noticed that there are still some minor issues, I would say. One is here listed as known issue, and unfortunately it prevented us to move forward. We expect to have this problem solved, and but if you're trying this with SAP, you should at least know that problem. One new feature of one of the latest versions of Composer is handling errors. So you have a kind of error handling, and so in the case of any error, when a problem comes up, you can have your own steps to move forward, solve the problems which are the background of that problem, or you can identify and update records to inform users that there is an error. So before we come to the use cases and the practice, I would like to introduce to the three key elements of Composer. The first one is the so-called trigger. The trigger is actually the reason why Composer kicks in. So in this case, it's a Salesforce trigger, means it's waiting for a new or updated record and the object type here is case comment. So if you have any new record in this specific Salesforce object, the process starts. It receives the result fields. In case of a new record, it's the record which has been created, or an updated record which has been updated. And you can also select the fields which are further evaluated and transformed. So the next one is, once you have that record or the record, the process comes in, and here you, well, it's a typical transform process, I would say. And but this will be further demonstrated in the cases, so I don't want to go on all details, but basically this is the process of transform the data. Yeah, you can, by the way, also using a couple of functions to transport that, to transform that, and also query conditions. So next and the last one is target. Well, this is actually the target system, maybe. And in this case, it goes through, if you have several records, it goes through each record here. That is for each item. And it takes that input list. And here we have a Jira connector, which actually inputs or creates a new record into Jira with a Jira ID and a body, which could be a text or something which comes actually here in this simple example from Salesforce. Okay, now it comes to demo time, and the my both friends Sudhir and Vinit will explain the use case. Sudhir,
Yes, yes, Marcus. Can you can hear me, right?
yes.
Yeah, great. First of all, thank you everyone who have joined our first virtual meetup, and I hope you'll enjoy our both demos which we have planned today. And before I just start showing the use case and the demo, I just wanted to ask everyone, how many of you are aware of Mulesoft Composer, or you've been using Mulesoft Composer, or you've just heard about the term Mulesoft Composer and are curious about that. Can just type in the chat section that if you know Mulesoft Composer or you've worked with Mulesoft Composer. I just wanted to understand the audience. You can just type in the chat. So if you have heard about MuleSoft Composer, or you've been working with MuleSoft Composer, or you're interested in MuleSoft Composer, you can just tell in the chat. Okay, heard about that. Not use, just know the basics of Composer and flows. I worked. Oh, great, great, Kritika. Okay, but not implemented. Okay, great, great. Okay, okay. Okay, so as most of you might have known that the Composer it's newly bought by MuleSoft, and it does a lot of great things, and we'll talk about them in the demo. Okay, so I'll present you the use case for today. It's a pretty simple use case, but I assure you that you'll learn a lot of new concepts within the Composer. So let's say we have a company, and you're working for a company, Alpha, and you are in the marketing team. Now let's say you'll get leads, right, from the team, from the outside, and there are a lot of leads which are coming inside to your company, right? And one better way, you've identified that you're already using Google Suite, okay, and then you're storing your leads in Google Sheets and all. And also your company uses Salesforce also to track those leads, and to send them campaigns and stuff, right? Now let's understand how, or MuleSoft Composer will come into the picture and help you understand, uh, help you get through the use case, or how you're going to take the leads from your G Suite or from Google Sheets to your Salesforce without writing a single line of code. If for example, let's say if you want to get the leads from Google Sheets to Salesforce without Composer, obviously you need to write Apex code, and then you need to have some integrations which are running at the background in Salesforce. But MuleSoft takes this particular flow, and it simplifies it with a lot of out of the box connectors, where you can directly use them and you can directly connect them. So I'll share my screen, and then I'll start the presentation. Marcus, can you give me the right to share the screen?
Definitely, but we just wanted to tell the audience the second use case
Okay.
as well before we share.
Yeah.
Vinit, would you like to
Yeah, would be
please?
happy to, Marcus. Hello, guys. Good evening. And first of all, thanks for being here. Myself, Vineet, and I'm an integration consultant, and I'm into integration for almost like 8 years. And with MuleSoft, I have been working with MuleSoft for nearly 4 years now. And here, in my use cases, let's consider like we are working for a company called Beta, and we are working for a client who is Salesforce, who is using Salesforce Cloud, and we are not having access into the Salesforce, but we are going to help them with a change request. So ideally, when there is a change request created in Salesforce by the client, we need the change request to be in our system, which is nothing but Jira, which is our ticketing tool, and we will be like proceeding with the ticket. And as I said, as we don't share the access in Jira or Salesforce, we have a common logging platform, which is MongoDB. We use MongoDB to log everything for both the client and us to refer to. So now I have split this into two use cases. The first one is this. The second one is the outbound scenario from Jira, where if you update a ticket in Jira, how it is gonna reflect in Salesforce. That's what we are gonna see in the second use case. And yeah, I'll come to this use case once you have a good session with Sudhir. Thank you, Marcus.
Right. Thanks very much. And now I will stop sharing, and it's up to you. Sudhir.
Yes, Marcus. You can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there. So everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes, Sudhir.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, now there are two things here. So the Mulesoft Composer, if you're working with Salesforce, you can have the Composer as a managed package. So you can ask your account executive, and he'll get the Composer, and then your admin will be able to install the Composer in your Salesforce org. Let's, you can see here, I went to my org, so it will be installed as a managed package. So that is one of the way you can access your Composer. And the second one is the standalone, or the website where you can directly log into composer.mulesoft.com, and then directly log into your account. The Composer admin has created for you. So once you log into the Composer, so this is the screen which is shown, and you can see here we have a ribbon with different options, and we can see here this is the flows which are present here already, and you can create a new flow. And I click on new flow. You can see we can create it from scratch, or we have a lot of templates which MuleSoft provides for directly, and you can use any of these templates, and you can edit these templates accordingly. I'll take a minute to explain about the ribbon, which is at the left-hand side. You can see we have overview, we have flows, we have the usage summary. So you can see usage summary shows us how many credits you have used. So MuleSoft sells the Composer to the partners or to the clients uh, such a way that it provides some credits to that particular org, and you can use the credits in order to use the Composer flow. So each Composer flow you create, and each record you create in the secondary system, it is considered as a task. So you can see here we have something called as tasks and something called as credits. Credits are nothing but you'll buy the credits from MuleSoft and you'll get the credits. And tasks are nothing but, let's say we have system A and system B, and you're trying to integrate them. Let's say a record goes from system A to system B, that is considered as a single task. So you can see here in the usage summary, we can see how many tasks we have used, and how many credits we have used for each Composer flow. And as I've shown you at the starting, like the templates, we have the templates here which are there, and then the settings, the users, accounts, and the security. Okay, so yeah, before going to the flows, if you have any questions, you can directly ping me or ping in the chat section. We'll be able to answer them right away. Okay. So now I'll show you the screen of the Composer flow. I'll click on create flow from scratch, and then you can see. So this is the screen. Once you start creating a Composer flow, you can see it says what should start this flow, right? Flow is nothing but a sequence of actions, right? We can either call this flow, or on a system event, or you can invoke this flow from external systems. I'll also discuss this at the end. And the next one is scheduling. You can schedule your flow when you want to run your flow. You can schedule your flow to run weekly or daily at some point of time. And when I click on system event, it shows you all the connectors which are present, which are right now present for Composer to connect with different systems. You can see we have Asana, we have Google Sheets, the most famous Salesforce, Slack, and also we have Workday here. And newly they've added Mulesoft RPA. So Mulesoft RPA also we can connect to your RPA Composer RPA flows which you have created. So these are the present out of the box connectors which MuleSoft provides us, to connect to these different systems, right? Now, let's say, for example, if you want to connect to Salesforce, I'll click on Salesforce. And if you see here, you can add your connections here. You can add new connection and it will ask you to, give a name. Let's say I'll give something as test connection. And I click on next. If your organization is a sandbox organization, you can click on this checkbox and it'll take you to test.salesforce.com instead of login.salesforce.com. And then I'll click on connect. It'll take you to the login page, and you can log into your sandbox or your production or whatever org you wanted to test this flow on. Okay. So this is one of the way you can connect to Salesforce using this Composer. So once you add your connection, you will be able to perform the operation. So you can see I have connected 3 developer orgs, and I'll click on this now. So this is the area where we'll start the flow. Now my flow will start on a trigger in Salesforce. So let's say you can see I can choose an event that is when a record gets created or updated or deleted. Any of the event I can select, and then select the object, whatever object I want. I want to do the operations on. I'll be able to select them. So this can be one way you will be able to start your MuleSoft Composer flow, right? So at the right hand side, you can see we have the text functionality, which I'll come into a bit, and we can activate the flow, we can save the flow. Currently, we don't have the options, to let's say if your organization has like four environments, UAT, sandbox, production, and let's say dev. So currently, you should be able to access MuleSoft Composer in each of the environments separately. It's not like you can install your Composer in the developer sandbox of your Salesforce and then log into the Composer and use the Composer, and you cannot transfer that flow from that sandbox to either UAT or to the production. So each environment of your Salesforce should be installed with the Composer. So likely that you should create your flows in the production org. You should be able to create them in the Composer in the production org. So that is one of the drawback I can say. We don't have the functionality of transferring or promoting the flows from sandbox to production or to any different environment. So that is one thing. And yeah, so this is the screen. As you can see, I can click on plus here, and we have a lot of things here. We have variables, we have if else blocks, we have for each loops. Let's say you're getting a list of records and you want to loop through them and you want to do some operations. We have a for each loop. And lately, Composer has released, or MuleSoft has released this particular functionality, that is error handling flow, right? So if I think most of you who have worked with the Anypoint platform or Anypoint Studio should have known what error handling functionalities we have in the platform, right? On error propagate, on error continue. The same thing has been implemented in the Composer, as you can see here. Let's say on error, you can see the conditions when you want to run this on error branch, and after running this particular step, what do you want to do? You want to continue the flow, or you want to stop the flow? So you can select them. It is pretty much similar to on error propagate and on error continue. So it is nice that Salesforce has released the error handling flow to the Composer. So this is the newest addition to the Composer. So yeah, so this is the overview of the whole Composer, how it looks, and how you can add the configurations with respect to Salesforce and what is an error handler, and how you can save it, activate it, and all. I'll go back to the main flow. I'll leave the changes here. So I'll come back to the list of flows. As you can see here, I have this Composer flow. I'll open this Google Sheets, Composer and Salesforce flow. So once I click on the name of the flow, you can see it shows some details, and also it shows some the history. It shows the run history of that particular Composer flow. As you can see, it shows when you created that flow, and last modified status and last triggered, everything like that. And you can click on view. So if you can see here, so this is the flow which which I've created, and quickly I'll show what I did here. So because and I'll be starting the flow on row insert in Google Sheets. If you remember our use case, the marketing team doesn't have access to Salesforce, and they're just putting the leads in the Google Sheets, and somehow the lead should be sent to Salesforce, right? And that is where Mulesoft Composer plays an important role. If there is no Composer, then you need to have some Apex scripts and some integrations between the G Suites, and then you have to get your leads from Google Sheets. But Composer makes it very simple. It gives out-of-the-box connectors wherein you can connect G Sheets and also Salesforce quickly. Now, if you can see here, I have a Google Sheet. I'll go to that sheet so I can see. So this is a Google Sheet which I have. So if you can see here, these are all my leads. These are all the test leads which I have. You can see here, this is my header which I have. I have city, I have company, country, description. I have the email, first name, industry, last name, all the fields which are there in Salesforce. So I have created this particular G sheet, and you can create this G sheet accordingly. You can have any number of sheets, and you can connect that sheet to your Composer flow. Now, if you can see here, yeah, before going to that, I would just show you the Salesforce. So this is my Salesforce org, as you can see. So I'll click on open leads. As you can see, so these are the details. Let's say these are the details of the leads. So we have a lead title, we have company, and the email, the owner in the company, the titles, and the lead source, industry. So these are all the details which are present in Salesforce, right? Now let's say we have the same details which are there in the G Sheets. Now let's say if some sales reps comes in and he tries to add a new record here, we should be able to pick up that record, and we should be able to create that record in Salesforce. And that is where Composer comes in. Let's say if you can see here, it is asking me to choose an event. So on a new record, you can have different events. I'll click on deactivate just to show you. You can see here on choose an event, it says new row, new spreadsheet, or updated row. Now in my case, let's my marketing team comes to the G Sheets because they doesn't have access to Salesforce. They only have access to the G Sheets, and they'll come here, they'll paste all the leads here, and they'll go back, right? Now that's why I am picking up the event as new row on a new row. And if you can see here, it asks me to select a spreadsheet. So my spreadsheet is Salesforce and Mulesoft Composer leads. As you can see, my spreadsheet name is Salesforce and Composer Mulesoft leads, right? I'll be able to select that, and also the worksheet name. I have two worksheets here. You can see Salesforce leads and dummy sheet. So that is Salesforce leads and dummy sheet. So it will automatically get the details directly from Google Sheets. So I will do, let's say, can see. Now, once that is done, I have selected my sheets. I have selected Salesforce leads, right? So once you're inserting that particular row in Google Sheets, what should happen, right? Every business has some conditions on which fields should be sent to Salesforce, or which are important fields which are needed in the Salesforce, right? now for that purpose, what I'm doing is I am adding an if else condition. If you can see here, I can add if else conditions here. Click on this plus symbol and I'll be able to add if else conditions. So now I have two conditions here. The first one is if if not null, process next. So I'm checking for these fields in the sheet. Okay, let's say if a guy, if a marketing guy comes in and he creates a record, right? I should not simply send that record to Salesforce. I should check actually, because if the needed information is present in that sheet. So what I'm trying to do here is I am trying to select a few fields, let's say email, first name, last name, and phone. I am checking at the starting that okay, let these fields should not be null. If these are null, I'm coming to the else condition and I'm sending a Slack message. Okay, so this is the Slack connector. You can leverage Slack connector also. It is as simple as I've connected Salesforce. You can see here. Let's say if I click on plus and system action, I will be able to connect to Slack. And I click on Slack, it'll ask. It's the same way you connected your Salesforce connector. So I've connected my Slack connector here. And then we have same operations, almost major operations which Slack provides us. You can post to a channel, get the user by email, send a direct message to a user, and we have some other different options. You can create channels and something like that, right? Now here I'm posting the message to the channel. The action is post message to a channel. So now you can see it says the channel name, and if I click on the symbol here, it will show search data pills or pick up from list. I'll click on pick up from list and it will show me all the channels which are present inside my Slack. So I've connected my account, right? So it will show me all the Slack channels which are present. I'll be able to select a channel and then message. You can select your message. You can customize your message accordingly, what message you want to sell. For example, let's say, please fill in the email, phone, and whatever fields which you want them to be there in the Google Sheet record before sending it to Salesforce, right? So this is the message, and then you can use this action. So this is done. So now if those fields are null, I'll send a Slack message saying that okay, these are null. I want you to fill them, and then you can I'll be able to pick it up again. If let's say the sales guy or the marketing guy sends, he submits the record, or he creates a record here with all the needed details. Now I'm going to the flow. You can see here. So if these are not null, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the lead record from Salesforce, right? So first of all, I'll check whether based on some conditions, whether this lead which the marketing guy has now created is already in my Salesforce or right. Salesforce takes duplicates, because if you have duplicates, that can hamper your business, right? So first of all, we'll check whether that lead is already present in Salesforce. So based on some conditions, again, these conditions, you can define n number of conditions here, depending upon your business or depending upon how you want your lead information to be sent to Salesforce. So you can see here, I'll get the lead from Salesforce. Let's say if this thing, this get record gives me a lead, right? If based on these conditions, which states that the lead is already present in Salesforce, right? So once the guy creates a record and the conditions run, and if you see here, if this is the case, so already the lead is present in Salesforce. We don't want to create the record again in Salesforce, right? So if you see, so that's why I added this particular get lead record Salesforce in the error handler. So if there is an issue with respect to getting that particular lead record, that will be catched here, and the error, you can see here on error. I have on error. I'm just stopping the flow and I'm sending a Slack message saying that okay, there is an error in the flow. Okay. Now let's say, just okay. Now, if that particular thing, if there is no error, I was able to get Salesforce record directly from Salesforce, and I was able to see that okay, this lead is already present in Salesforce, right? Now I am doing an if else condition here, checking that if that particular list of leads is empty, right? Now I created a record, I went to Salesforce, and I checked whether that particular lead is already there in Salesforce. If that is not empty, if that is empty, let's say if that list is empty, that means that there is no record in Salesforce, right? So if there are no existing leads in Salesforce, again I'm coming here into the error handling flow. I am creating a new lead record with the details which were entered in the Google Sheets, right? So I'll do a create new record here with all the details which are coming from the Google Sheets. Now, if you see, let's say I'll click on select additional fields. Let's say you want to add clean status. You can select the clean status here and click on apply. You can see the field is added here, clean status. And let's say in your Google Sheets, if you have clean status, you can directly search for the clean status and it will show you the field which is in the Google Sheet. So I can click on clean status. Right, so this is done, right? So I'll be able to create a lead again, and then on error, because error handling plays a major role, we need to create error handler for every DML operation, that is create, update, or delete operations on Salesforce, right? So if there is an error in creating a record, I'll send that to the error handling flow, and the on error will kick in, and then it will send a message to the Slack channel, which we have defined, saying that okay, there is an error in while creating the record. And also it will update the Google Sheets row. So I have a row in my Google Sheets. If you can see, I came back to my Google Sheets. I'll scroll to the right. If you see, I have something called as created in Salesforce, which takes true or false. So I'm setting that to false. If I was not able to create that record, there should be some way to communicate that to the marketing team, right? So I created this field, which is created in Salesforce. So we will update this field either to true or to false, depending upon the scenario. If this is, if I was not able to create a lead because of some issue, and then the error handling comes into place, and it will update the lead record. It will update the lead record in the row with false. This particular field in the row created in Salesforce to false. Okay, let's say if this is done, if there was no issue in creating a lead record, this is done. So it will not go to the on error flow, right? If there was no issue, it'll directly come to the next connector or the next component, that is the Slack message components. Here you can see I'm sending a message saying that new lead created, and then I'm passing sending some values here. So usually the custom expression editor will allow you to send in different kinds of values. You can see I can add the /n's to get these things into the new line characters and everything. And let's say if you want to highlight or bold, make the text bold, you can use the star symbol. So these are all the custom editors functionalities which you can find in the documentation section. So you can see here, using these things, I can make login.salesforce.com in bold. And if I'm using /n, these things will come into the next lines. So these things can be done. And also we have some functions which are there, and in Mulesoft is trying to add more functions in the coming releases. You can see there are a lot of functions to use. Let's say if you want to check if that particular field which you are getting is an empty string, you can do that. You can capitalize the first letter. There are a lot of functions which the composer gives us. And in the custom expressions editor, you can see we have the data and the operators. I'll go to the data. You can see here you will be able to access everything here, from your sheets data to the error handler data, because currently we are in the error handling flow, right? You'll be able to access your Slack details, and also your lead details which got created, so that you can use this data to send in the message to the reps in your organization. So I'll click on cancel here. So this is the send message thing, and then okay. Now you can see there is this else component which says lead already exists. Now if I scroll to the top, let's say this is if condition is false, if there is already a lead in Salesforce, right? So 10th component and the scroll down, the 17th component are the 18th component are interlinked. So that is if condition, and the 18th component is the else condition. So if this particular list, that is the list of leads, is empty, we'll go to the next conditions. Else, if this is not empty, we know that okay, that record which the marketing guy created in the sheets is already present in Salesforce. So now we'll come to the else condition. We'll send a Slack message saying that okay, lead is already present in Salesforce. Lead already exists in Salesforce. So these are the details. Please check the record in Google Sheets. Great. So this is the whole flow, which due to time constraints I could not build directly in the meetup. But in the coming meetups, I'll make sure I'll provide you with hands-on directly in the meetup. What I'll try to do, I'll try to test this flow. I'll click on flow details, leave without saving changes. Now, if you see here, click on edit. Now you will be able to test this flow. So I can click on test, and it will start the test. So once I click on test, so you can see here it's waiting for the test to start, right? Now I will go to my sheets. I have the dummy sheet which I have prepared. I have already the data. Okay. So if you see, this is my data which I have already prepared. So I'll copy my data and I'll go back to Salesforce leads sheet, and I'll copy paste it. I pasted this here. And now I'll come back to my composer flow, and you can see it is awaiting trigger event still. So I just pasted the records in the Google Sheet. So it should pick up, and you can see it just picked up those records, and it says the test is finished, right? Now if I scroll down, you can see the blue component got executed, right? You can see here, I'll open the 6th component. You can see there's a tick mark here. So this get leads record got executed. That means that we have the email, first name, last name, and the phone fields. Those are not empty, right? If those are empty, directly it would have went to the else statement. So you can see these are grayed out. That means they have not been executed. So the data is like that. So I'll show the negative cases also in a minute. So you can see here the composer has run. It got the lead records. It did not go to the error components. You can see here because there was no issues with those records. And then it created lead records in Salesforce with all the details. And then I can show you the Slack. So now you can see here, so this is my Slack channel. So Salesforce Mulesoft Composer, and this is my Slack channel. You can see Mulesoft Composer has sent a message saying that, okay, new lead got created, row ID, the record ID, the first name, the last name, the email, the phone. What are the details we have? It gave the details in
Sorry
yeah.
to interrupt, like your screen is not in Slack still.
Oh, sorry. I'll just share my screen. Now, can you see my Slack screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now you can see here. Once the details are perfect. I was able to insert that record into Salesforce, and then we have the message saying that new lead got created. It also gives the row ID, record ID, the first name and the last name, and all the other details. I'll go back to my Salesforce. I'll just check. Now, if you see here today's leads, I already created a list view with the filter saying that created date is today. So you can see here, so these are the details. If you can see, we have the lead record which got created in Salesforce with the details which we have provided in the Google Sheets flow, right? So this is the way this particular flow works. And then I'll quickly, you can see I can activate this flow. I'll activate the flow. I'll just take 2 more minutes to hand over to Vineet for the next session. So meanwhile, I'll go to my sheets. I'll go to my dummy sheet. So if you can see here, I have prepared another set of dummy data, which has which doesn't have few details. Let's say you can see here there is no email, and there is no, let's see here you can see there is an issue with the email field. It should be something @something.com, right? So I missed the .com, and there is this. I will rename this. Let's do a few times. So now this is the data which will copy. So once this is activated, I will copy paste my next set of records, which contains all, which checks for all the flow components. So I'll just wait for this to activate. So till now, if anyone has any questions, you can ask them in the chat section. Okay, my flow is active. I'll go back. Okay, I'll go back to my sheets. I've copied the records, so I'll paste the records here, and then I'll come back to the composer. Okay, so something test connections failed. Okay, so I've pasted them, and the composer should pick up. You can see the last trigger date is 5:22 p.m. and you can see the record got picked up. Refresh that.
So I think according to the plan, and we have to switch then to
Yes,
to make
yes,
sure that he will complete with his use case as well. Is that okay?
Yes, just 2 minutes. I'll complete, Max. It's done already. So it's done. Just 2 minutes. I'll complete this thing. Yeah. So you can see I've pasted the 4 records here, and these 4 records got picked up by the composer. And you can see, I mean, my Slack channel, I have sent 4 records, right? So these covers all the cases. So first record, that is 35, I have not given one of the field, that is the email field, and it was empty. So that's why this got executed. And the second one, if you see here, I have not given the .com in my second record. If you see here, I have not given .com. So once it goes to Salesforce will say that, okay, this email field is incorrect, and that is an error, right? So that was picked up, and I was able to execute that in the error flow. And the next is the actual happy scenario, or the positive case, the new lead got created. And the last one is the record which I already have in my Salesforce. I copy pasted that. That is the last one. So it was already there in Salesforce. So that's why you can see here it says the lead is already in Salesforce. So these 4 scenarios, or these 4 records, will cover the scenarios of all the components which we have built in this particular flow. So I hope I was able to explain this flow in an understandable way, and I hope it is okay. And if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat section, and then I'll be able to pick them up from here. Okay. Can you elaborate about credits? Each call to Salesforce consume one credit. So actually, credits and tasks are two different things, Ramchandran. So credits are nothing but, let's say, if you are going to Mulesoft and you are saying that you want to buy Mulesoft, you have to buy credits. So each credit will have 50 tasks. So I can just show you that. You can see here. So this is the documentation page of Mulesoft. So if you can see here,
Sudhir, could we please switch now?
yeah.
We will answer that question in a session if we have now time, but we have to make sure that we will at least show the second use case.
Yeah. Okay, I'll answer this question at the last, Ramchandran. Yeah, I'll give it now to Vinith. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So I'm going to take up the session now. Let me share my screen. Okay. Uh, okay. Just let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
So Marcus, you're able to see all the tabs, right?
Yeah, it's all visible.
Okay, thank you. So coming back to the use case. So here I'm gonna get back to the use case again just to brush up. So we are gonna create, the client is gonna create a change request in Salesforce, which is gonna create a ticket in your Jira, and all the logs, all the actions will be logged in MongoDB. And the peculiarity of this use case is how we are gonna use or bring in MongoDB inside the flow. We don't have a connector MongoDB in Composer yet. So like this is where I will be answering one of the questions in the chat, how we are gonna link the endpoint platform or be it any external APIs into our use cases or in Mulesoft Composer. So going back again, so if you notice, I'll go to my Composer, and as Sudhi said, this will be the first screen what you're seeing. And I have created two flows here. One flow is for if there is a change created in Salesforce for a ticket to be created in Jira, this flow will come into picture. Where in the other flow, it goes for the outbound scenario from Jira. So let me get you guys into the flow first. The flow is already active. So every time, so this could be a question. How when you're like just by triggering, if I'm creating a Salesforce trigger, and I'm actually like connecting my Salesforce channel. Okay. So here there could be a question. What if today I'm adding a new field to it, and how it will reflect here, or what I should do? And if you notice, when I opened the flow, there was a, even though it is an active flow, there was a loader here which was saying checking the connection. The checking connection not only will check all the active connections, but also will make sure it is retrieving all the changes. So if I have a new field created in Salesforce, particularly in this object, that new record or the new field will be visible here for you to like use it in your flow. So to begin with, I'm not going to deactivate. I will just like go through the flow. And first, we have a Salesforce trigger here, which actually listens for a change request object. And here I'm gonna listen for both new or an updated change request. So when in my in the client's Salesforce cloud, if a change request is created or updated, this flow will be picking it, and then I have a create variable. This one is kind of something like new in this flow, which is not explained by Sudhir in this flow. Create variable is nothing but like you can use all the fields from Salesforce and its values. And in some cases, in few cases, where you want to build a string and you want to like utilize a combination of values somewhere, There you can go for a create variable, and you can use that variable anywhere in the flow. So here I'm creating a variable, two variables, one for ticket descriptions and one for status alert. Ticket description is nothing but I'm just like concatenating different fields from Salesforce, and I'm creating a ticket description for the Jira ticket, because the fields in Jira and Salesforce always will not be same. And even if we want to have it similar, we can do it. But in this case, I have used a variable to have everything in a single command. So once this create variable action is done, it will go into an if else statement. Here I'm just checking if this is a new change request or an updated change request. For this, we are introducing two new fields. One is in Salesforce, which is Jira ID, and in Jira, I'm going to introduce a new field. I have already introduced a new field called Salesforce ID. So I will be exchanging these IDs between two systems to make sure both are in sync, and it is easy for us to like refer later. So once it is coming, it will just check if there is a Jira ID already present. If it is so, then it is considered to be an update event, else it is considered to be a create event. So let's go with the create event first, because that comes first, right? So when I'm creating an change request, it will come here, it will check, it will not have a Jira ID yet, it will update the variable. This one, the variable, what I said, there can be two actions to a variable. One is create variable, second one is update variable. You can update an already created variable anywhere in the flow, and the updated value will be valid for the rest of the flows. So once the variable, I'm updating the status in each and every step, so it will be added to my logs, so I can refer it later. So I'm updating the variable. Second one, you could see I've introduced an error handler where I'm updating the ticket, or I'm creating a ticket. So once it is a new Jira, I will just like go into this error handler, and I will try to like create a Jira ticket with all the values what I have from Salesforce, and also the variable ticket description which I created, which contains all the values together. And as I said, if you notice here, we have the fields here, which is standard fields of Jira. And I already informed you guys, I created a custom fields. So as I have the custom fields here, all the custom fields will be listed under this, and you can select which one you want. And for the selected field, you should be giving an input. So I selected for my integration, I need Salesforce ID field from Jira, and I'm sending the change request ID from Salesforce to this field. Next one, if in case I have some issue while creating Jira, while executing the step, then it will just like come inside, stop the flow. And then here is the new part, which you guys, which answers a question in the chat as well, like how I'm gonna bring in something which Composer does not have a connected for. And in our example, we have taken MongoDB. It is MongoDB. It could be anything. It could be Microsoft Office applications, or it could be any application where we don't have a composer. We can create an API in any point platform or any other API platform, management platforms, and we can use that here using an HTTP connector. So here I'm using an HTTP connector, and I'm calling an API which I have in Anypoint Studio, which I have deployed in the Anypoint platform, my Anypoint platform, which is called Change Management. And it does nothing. It will receive this message, and it will be like updating the MongoDB. So here, if you notice, it has two options. It will have simple request, or you can also have a loop request, and you can choose the method as it is like REST. You have to choose an HTTP method to describe what action it is. And you can give headers, you can give any number of headers, and you can give any number of query parameters you want. And one this exactly works in any point MuleSoft pattern. Here you can give an example request structure. So what Composer will do is, once you give an structure, be it JSON or XML or CSV, whatever it is, it will sense the fields and it will list out the fields for you. So it will from an JSON what I gave, it started listing out the fields, and it is asking now for me to like fill in one of the values into this field. Okay, so one of the values I have to like, once I had all the values, I can do the same for response. So if this request and response acts pretty much easier when we are going to talk about already available connectors. Let's consider Salesforce itself. So if I make the connection and if I say change request, it will connect to my org. It will bring all the fields, and before going to the next step, it will already have all the fields. And if I'm using a create event, it will also know what will be the response. So it will automatically uh, it define the fields. It will already predefined fields and all will be coming in. Wherein when we go with this HTTP, the problem is the API is not known. It's kind of an black box to the composer. So ideally, it should be us. We should provide with an example request or example response, from which it will intelligently take the fields which are needed or which are listed. And you can also say, okay, fine, these are the fields in this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I need only one field every time. Anything can be done by you. You are the hero here. You can actually play around with the fields here. So once you have filled in all the fields, it will be like sending, if you have the JSON request, it will send the JSON to the API, or XML. If it is an XML, it will create an XML and it will push the payload to the API. Once it is there, like again I'll be like, please, this update variable will do the same thing. It will keep on updating my variable for the log purpose. And once this is an error case, this is on error. Let's consider there was no error. The Jira ticket was created. My next job is to, like, as I informed, I have to exchange the IDs. So I already have the Salesforce ID in Jira, but I don't have the Jira ID in Salesforce. So that would be my next step. It will here. I'm gonna like bring the ID. This is the Salesforce ID, and in the field key, I will have the Jira ID, and I will be updating this Salesforce entry with the field Jira ID. Okay, so once this update is done, I will this part is the complete part, is for in case it's a new entry, and if it is an old entry, else it will go into Jira using the Jira ID which is available already. It will just update whatever the update you are giving, it will just update it. And then once everything is there in the success scenario as well, at the very end of the flow, I'm updating again the same MongoDB with a log saying like it was successful. And here is where I'll be using the status variable, which will have all the steps which were performed in a string. Okay, so this is a flow. This is the first flow, which will be like which will trigger in a minute or so. And then let me get you guys back to the other flow, which is like update change request if in case a Jira issue is updated. So when a Jira, I have the Jira now, I have the Jira ticket, I have worked on it, or the Jira ticket can be accepted. This is what I was telling you guys. Sorry. Testing connection. Every time when I open a flow, it will test connection to fetch all the reason fields or changes, or if there is an access issue, your user ID got expired, everything immediately this flow will be failing, and it will be visible for you. So it will be easy for you guys to like act on it immediately. So when coming back to the flow, I have a Jira ticket now. It's based on certain conditions. I can accept the Jira ticket. I can reject the Jira ticket, or I can complete after working. So all these status changes will happen in the ticket, and once the changes are there, it should be reflecting in Salesforce. And this flows does that. When there is a change of status in the Jira ticket, this trigger is going to be Jira here, and this trigger will like fetch the changed or the Jira ticket where there was an update, and again it will be like getting into an if loop where it checks if the name is equal to progress. As Sudhir said earlier, we can have multiple conditions, multiple if statements. You can have only if statements, only one if statements, or you can have combination of if else. All this thing you can do. This is the right example for it. Here I have three if statements, and first if is like I'm changing my status, Jira ticket status, to in progress. The second if loop will come into picture if I'm changing the request, or if I'm changing the Jira ticket status to rejected. And the third one would be like completed, it's done. So in these three cases, every time what should happen, and then I'll end up updating the log. So getting into here, it is very simple. If an update is there, if it is in progress, I'll go into change request in Salesforce. And one good thing here is, if you notice here, this implementing would be a pick list. As the Salesforce connection is given here, as we are giving the Salesforce connection parameters here, and we are connecting our org, this will simply say what are all the status available, and it will be a pick list. You can select which status corresponding to the Jira ticket status, and then like you can do the same for other status as well. For rejected, I'm gonna select rejected, and for done, I'm gonna say in Salesforce it's going to be closed. So I have plenty of status in Salesforce. I can create plenty of status in Jira. So for all and anything and everything, you can have different if cases. And if you want to like act differently for each status, you can do that. If you want to like replay back something in Jira, if in case needed, everything can be done. Okay. So at the end, again, I'm bringing in MongoDB here, where it will just like update the log. And if you notice here, in the previous screen, I had more than like 5 fields, wherein here, when I'm updating from Jira, I'm just like having only 4 fields. It is just like the email, the issue, and the status, and the information, more information or description, detailed description. So only 4 fields. Where this is because like I personally decided I don't want the other fields, so I just like took them off from the list. So even this will work. So getting back to the demo, first I will try to like instead of like deactivating, I will just like do it straight away. I'll go into the first flow, and then I'll get to my change request, and these are the change requests which are already there. And if you see, there are status. Some are implementing, new, rejected, and closed. Everything is there. Let me open a change request, and if you see the details, I have the subject, which is like create. It has a description and change request owner, the first name, last name. Jira ID is here because it's an already existing change request, and like these are the basic details of a change request. And this Jira ID is nothing but an customized field in the Salesforce. I'm gonna clone this to create a new entry, and I will just remove this Jira ID to remove the uh, connection which is already there, and I will save it. So once I saved, a change request 20 has been created, with all the details which I gave now. And if I go to the composer and if I refresh, you will see the last run is by 5:54 and 34, which is like few seconds before. And then I'll get myself into the Jira board, and you literally saw a new change request, new ticket getting created in to do. So I have the ticket. If you notice here, I have the description just this, and here, because of the variable usage, you can actually like combine all the information like this. You can edit it as you said. You can make few lines blow block underlined, or you can add font styles to the font as well. So once this is done, now what I'm going to do is I will get you guys into the second flow. Okay, before doing that, if you guys saw a ticket got created, now I'll get you guys into the Mongo, where if I refresh, I'll see a log by, I guess like you guys can see it. Yeah, okay, I should go to the next page. Yeah, if you notice, this is the change request which got created. I have, as this is JSON, I have added everything to a string. That's the reason everything is in a single line. And what is the issue? What is the first name and last name from what is it from Salesforce? What is the email ID and what is the status if it is complete or not? And then if I will get you guys into the second flow, where what happens if I'm updating the status of my Jira ticket. Okay, and maybe for this I will go into the flow and I will deactivate, and I will test and show you guys each and every step what happened. So give it a minute, so it will refresh the connection, and it's done. I'll deactivate. And then I'll test it now. So we have to wait until it says it is ready for a trigger. And when you are in testing phase, every trigger is only for one time. So if you test and trigger one transaction, the test will stop automatically. For the next transaction, you have to make sure you are testing it again. So it is waiting for the trigger event now. I will go. I'll just change my ticket from here to maybe rejected. And it's done here in Jira. And then like I'll go to the composer and see if this is being picked up. Now, when you are in test, it always takes a few seconds for it to like pick and process. And then like if you notice, as Sudhir said in the previous previous use case, this demo, the tick mark here denotes it is processed, this step was executed, and this is the output, test output. And this blue box denotes the if statement is this if statement was the one which was triggered. And the grade one or something which says like those were not processed. So ideally you will see this block, this blue blocks only for if statements, or if you have any other statements which separates it from to be executed or not. So once we have here in the first step, as usual, it fetched the information, it took the information here, and then like it went into create variable, and it created the variable. If you see Jira ticket status change was something like status changed. Jira ticket, if you see the status, and I have the key CS18, which was my ticket number. And then it will get into the if statement. It will check if it is in progress. It was not, it was into rejected, and then this condition will be successful. It will come into this condition. It will update our status message, and then next step it would go into Salesforce, and it will this ID will be fetched from Jira, and then like it will using this ID, it will update the status of the Salesforce, update the status of the change request in Salesforce to be rejected. I go back to Salesforce, and if I see, maybe I can refresh. If I refresh, it's same change 20, and if you notice, the Jira ID is updated, and my status code or status is rejected already. So, and after this, sorry, after this, it will skip the next if statement because already one if statement is executed, and then like it will come to the last part where our HTTP connector comes in. It will update again the MongoDB. Here you cannot see the test output. That's only because it's HTTP, and it's like, as I said, it's a closed box for Composer. And like you can see the output in the DB, MongoDB. I will just refresh it again. I'll go to the next page directly, and if I go down, yeah, see the Jira ticket CS18 status change to rejected, and like the status is complete. So this is how the flow works, and it doesn't stop here. You can have any number of actions, any number of action steps. You can make this flow much more complicated if needed. You can bring in more and more condition, and you can one very important feature to see through here is the error handler. An error handler is for each step. It's not for the complete flow, it's for each step. If you want an error handler for this step, you have to like implement the error handlers. You cannot have an error handler common for the complete flow. You can so I will get here. If you notice, I will show you guys again. If I go here and see the sixth, after the update, my action is actually this, and I should have an error handler for this action. Okay, and that's how it works in Composer. So that's it from my end. I guess like it was understandable for you guys. So, wow. So, too many questions, and I'm happy. Thank you, Marcus and Suzy, for answering those questions. And moving on, first, let me ask if you guys have any questions regarding confined to my presentation. Ramachandran. What big value you see here compared to building integration with any point platform is as Composer? Yeah, if I want to answer this in a single word, Composer is for no code integration. Here, you didn't see me writing codes. You didn't see me like bringing in data weave, mapping the fields, bringing this field and that field, the data structures. No concepts, no integration concepts. It's just drag and drop. Okay, so if you know Composer, that is enough for you to do the integration. It is not necessary for you to like understand everything which is happening behind or the technical aspects of it. So to answer it very simply, Ramachandran, like this is for someone who likes to like code, but like not too much into coding. And yeah, I guess like I answered your question. And Meg Mahesh, so not Megesh, sorry. If you ask me, I would still say yes. I have seen customer using Composer. Yeah, and it's easy for you to like, as Megesh said, it is easy for you to like, yeah, attract customers with this because you don't want 5, 6 developers to sit and work in Composer. So that makes easier for the in the business perspective. It makes easier for the customers as well. Okay, so I guess no more questions regarding my slide. So can we import, sorry, can we import this Composer project to any point?
Currently, no. Ramchandran, we don't have that functionality currently. And as I've said at the starting, we will not be able to export these flows to any point as of now.
Maybe in the future, we
Yes,
don't know
yes,
what is waiting for us.
yes.
For now, Composer is a different component. Anypoint is a different component. We can actually connect these two. We can connect Composer with Anypoint. We can connect Composer with MuleSoft RPA. But like everything is now a separate entity. They are not together. So thank you. So any more question, guys? Okay, so going back to our slides. So this is going to be our official Q&A session. Here you can ask us anything from the very beginning, like if you have still any more questions to answer. And
Just to add to the question of Ramchandran, we can actually export, let's say you have created a composer flow in an org, and you can export that, and you can import that particular flow to another composer org. Let's say you have an org named B, and that has a composer flow. You will be able to import the composer flow which you have exported from a different org. So that import functionality is also still in beta, and as from Mulesoft, I guess in the next release they'll make sure to make it GA, generally available. So yeah, we have the export and import functionalities within Composer, but not to Anypoint Studio or Anypoint platform. Yeah.
okay, I would like to switch my screen from this matrix as soon as possible. So Marcus, are we having the mics on, or
Yeah,
maybe we'll keep it to the chat?
I think we can do that. Actually, we need 10 minutes or so for the final step, which is Mentimeter. So we would like to know more about you and your impression of that presentation. As I said, it's our first one, and we would like to know more what topics are interesting for you guys. And but basically, what we can do, I hope that we can do that. It's a test. Nothing than a test is we can switch on the microphone. If you have any question, then we can certainly try that. And let me see. What I can do, I hope that will work. You can now, I think, switch on your microphone. And if you have any questions, please do so. I mean, we are not, yeah, I see that's working. And if so, we are not so many people here. So let's start then. We have a first question.
Yeah, first of all, able to hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, first of all, thanks. And also, I was asking the value on the compared with the Anypoint platform versus Composer. That was clear, but I was because we were more extensively using a platform, Anypoint platform, than Composer, as I also mentioned it earlier. We would like to use it, exploring the options. So maybe question not put in the right way, asking you what is a big value. There is definitely value. Yeah, so if I also see it's more for citizen developers, not for actual developers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the benefits is as well, I mean, from a customer perspective, obviously, you get the standard list price is for the small packed composer packed is $27,000 dollars, euros, whatever. And I think that makes a difference compared to a full packaged Anypoint license as well.
Yeah, so also question regarding that if you are already an existing customer of Salesforce and MuleSoft, for example, we still have to buy those credits for Composer and for RPA, right? Am I having a right understanding, or is it if we have a Salesforce license, are we getting these credits by default?
I don't think so, no. I haven't seen
No.
that. comes with a subscription of Composer or with a combination of all three. There's a special package which you can purchase from Salesforce. This combines RPA, Mulesoft, and Anypoint. There will also have some credits which comes together with the package. And now, if you just, well, to say that this way, if you just have Salesforce, I don't think that there is any way to get Mulesoft credits or Composer credits, I think.
Okay.
But maybe someone has a deeper knowledge here in the group. That is at least what we know.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any more questions? Okay, just give you 1 minute to think about if you have questions. Okay, that seems not to be the case. Then I would like to ask, thanks very much for that. I would like to ask Sudhir now to take over the screen. We would like to ask you to give us some feedback, and therefore Sudhir prepared Mentimeter, where you can give us some direct feedback according to your impression of that course, any topics you are interested in, that kind of stuff. So, Sudhir, please.
Thanks, Marcus. So if you can either log into menti.com using this link, or you can use this code. Just you can log into menti.com and you can use this code. You will be able to see our first questions. Either the link you can use, or you can just go to menti.com and then you can use the code. Okay, we have our
Thank you.
it's good content. Great. Yeah, and in the same link you have your next question. What topics you want us to cover next? Let's say we have the hot topic right now is Anypoint Code Builder or in a Cloud App 2.0. So any topic you want us to cover in the next meetup or next virtual meetup, you can just type it in the same link. Yeah, expect Code Builder. Yeah.
Good one. API best practices.
Okay. I think that's it. 3 responses: Code Builder, Cloud App 2.0, API best practices. It was it. Okay.
Maybe give a minute. So that,
Yeah.
maybe like if you guys have the same topic in your mind, you can still add on to it. So it will make it will make easy for us to like prioritize, or like, yeah. So if you have the same topic in mind, you are open to like add it.